Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gymnasium. For today's Tufts comes into this one 13-3 overall, 3-0 in NESCAC play. Bates, on the other hand, 9-6, 2-1 in NESCAC play. Scott, the story of this one, Jumbo's finally getting ranked. They're at 23 in the nation now for D3. Meanwhile, Bates, on the other hand, unranked. And part of that is they've lost to some teams that realistically they probably should have beat.
Absolutely. But don't discount this Bates team. I know their overall record 9-6, clearly 3.5 games worse than the Jumbo, so there's some gap there. But in the NESCAC standings, they are right behind them. It goes Colby at 1, Tufts at 2, and Bates at 3. This is a formidable team, and we shouldn't take them lightly today.
Matchup to watch today is going to be senior guards for both teams. Eric Savage for the Jumbos. He's averaging 14.5 points, 6.6 boards per game, and 3.8 assists. On the other hand, for Bates, Jeff Spellman is a threat to watch out for. 18.7 points per game on the season, 5 rebounds, and a steal to go along with that.
Yeah, and 2 games ago, Savage had 18 points, shot 57% from the field, and had 9 assists and 8 rebounds. He flirted with the triple-double there. He had an unbelievable game against Amherst, this last conference game, and a huge win for the Tufts. And look for him again to complement, of course, Tufts' best player, Luke Rogers, out there today.
Yeah, as we mentioned, looking back at the schedule, Tufts with a pretty nice couple past games, beating NESCAC rivals Hamilton and Amherst. On the other hand, Bates suffering really tough loss to Maine Farmington, 87-85. That was on this past Wednesday.
Yeah, those are games that if you're Bates, you want to stay competitive, you need to win. Of course, it wasn't a conference game, so they can take that as reassurance. But going forward, when you have almost exclusively conference games, Bates can't afford to do that if they want to remain competitive. And the same thing goes for Tufts if they want to hold on to their ranking. Finally getting into the D3 rankings, a loss against a team like Bates would probably drop them out once again.
Absolutely, especially considering season's coming to an end. Just a few more games for both teams in January, then a short stint in February before the tournament kicks off. Gonna have Rogers and Omar Sarr jumping it off to start us off this afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. Bates wins the tip, and we are underway. Stephon Baxter on the point for Bates. Spellman. Morris comes out to help. Spellman working baseline now. And they're going to call him for steps.
Yeah, it was good trap by Rogers, rotating down low. Not a lot of room for Spellman to go down there, and just held on to it too long, couldn't stop his momentum. Ends up walking with it.
Here's Carson Cohen. Lobbing one up, looking for Rogers underneath. He finishes.
And of course, if you're Bates, you need to take that away. You can't allow Luke Rogers to get easy looks like that.
Rogers leading scorer for this Jumbo team. Here goes Greenalch. Missed the rim. Rogers with the board. Tufts looking to push. Gonna get Baxter for reaching, I believe.
And on that last defensive possession, you saw a decent move by Greenalch there, but Rogers' presence really forced and rushed that shot, and that's why you ended up seeing it go a little wild.
Rogers thought about the mid-range, gives up to Savage. And they're going to get Savage for traveling. You know, traveling, it's certainly emphasized a lot in professional basketball as well. It's something to definitely watch out for in today's game.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Here's Baxter from the free throw line. He's got it.
That's a tough shot for Baxter. He's only 5'10" out there, so he needs to create a lot of his own space, and he was able to do it there.
Yeah, at 5'10", he's easily the shortest player on the court for either team. Well, one up for Rogers, and he finishes down low once again. So Rogers with all 4 of Tufts' points. Baxter gets a screen, kicks it out in the corner, working it around the perimeter. Spellman's shot is good. Spellman, the senior from Boston. Savage taking it all the way himself off the mark. Rogers fighting for it, and he's able to win it. looking for some help. Tyler Aronson, step back jumper. He's got it.
That's a tough shot. If he can make that, it's going to be tough for Bates to take both that away as well as the down low presence of Rogers.
Baxter on the drive, looking to create some contact. He finishes, no call, but nice finish from, as we were mentioning, the 5'10", Stephon Baxter.
What a tough shot to finish up there among the trees, as they like to say. He was able to get that shot off, looking for the foul. Didn't get it, but still converted.
Cohen kicks it out to Savage. His three is good. A lot of offense from both teams to start off early on here, Scott.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're seeing good passes, good moves, and both teams are able to score down low, and that's creating opportunities.
They're going to get Omar Sarr for an offensive foul.
Bates foul charge number 21, Omar Sarr, his first, team second.
Second foul early on here for Bates. Omar Sarr from Senegal, Dakar, Senegal. Matched up down low with Rogers. Cohen, mid-range once again, not that time. Nice follow-up there from Cohen, but couldn't convert. Here's Gilpin off and running. Greenhalgh with the finish.
Another layup where you're looking for the contact there, expecting to get it. They don't get the call, but they're still able to finish. Those are two tough layups.
Greenhalgh averaging 13.2 points per game on the season. Here's Brennan Morris, corner three. That's off. Sarr with the board. Greenhalgh with a deep one from the logo. The NESCAC logo there on the side is off. Cohen gives up his dribble, finds Rogers underneath. Sarr all over him. Too strong. Savage with the follow, and it's good.
Rogers looking for contact there, didn't get it, but it was a good follow by Savage.
Here's Sarr. Rogers affected that one, might have got a hand on it, and he comes away with the board. Here's a pull-up three from Aronson, which is off. And we're going to have a foul against Tufts, which will allow Max Oppenheim to come in for Luke Rogers.
Kick into the game for Tufts, number 24, Max Oppenheim.
Oppenheim with some more modest stats on the season, just under 2 points a game and 2 boards per game, but he certainly makes his presence felt when he's out there.
Absolutely. He's not as a dynamic offensive player as Rogers, but he's still a big man down low that's able to really alter shots. And
Aronson with the steal. He's off and running, and he finishes with the lay-in.
good defense by Aronson going coast to coast. Well, just great alert play.
Aronson's got 4 on the game now. Baxter in trouble, unable to convert. Morris with the board. Cohen dribble into traffic, deflected off of a Bobcat, so Tufts will have it on the baseline.
Yeah, you don't want to really see Cohen dribbling into trying to get in between a really tight space in between 2 defenders there. There's probably a pass to be made instead of making that difficult play.
Savage baseline jumpers off. Rebound by Tom Coyne. Bates with some subs into the game as well. As we mentioned, Coyne is in there. As is number 12, Kenny Aruoji. And there he is off the mark. Hopefully we're pronouncing that one right. If not, hopefully we'll hear it from the scores table at some point. Here's Aronson in the corner working around the Oppenheim screen. He puts up from the free throw line and out. Gilpin with the board for Bates. Off the mark from Gilpin. Brennan Morris yes to get on the scoreboard for the Jumbos. Savage fading away off. Oppenheim with the board. And we're going to have a jump ball as Tom Coyne got his hands to it as well.
So don't get me wrong, Eric Savage is a great player, but you saw that down low at the tough angle, and he has 2 defenders basically draped on him. I'm not sure that's the shot you want to be looking for, especially if you're double teamed. There's someone that's got to be open.
Here's Cohen kicking it out. Thorner on the drive. His shot won't go. It's knocked out to the perimeter where Brady is. Brady feeds Oppenheim. Turns the corner underneath, and he traveled.
Yeah, he tried to make a strong move there, but found himself, he was just not well positioned. He ended up right under the basket, and the only way he was going to be able to create room is to try to get away with the travel there.
Seemed like he might have been able to take the initial shot, but instead walked his way into a turnover.
Yep.
Nice move by Coyne, juking out Oppenheim, and he finishes off the window.
Yeah, great move. Oppenheim was unable to catch up once he made that quick ball fake and create a lot of space for the easy layup.
Tom Coyne is a senior from Falmouth, Maine, averaging 10 points per contest. Brandon Morris off on a 3-ball. 13-10 Jumbos early on here. Pretty move there from James Mortimer, going all the way himself.
And ever since Rogers came out, Jumbos have looked a lot less dynamic on offense. They're no longer able to play with him, and they're taking a lot of contested shots. You see the difference that he can make when he is in the game.
You see Bates attacking the paint more. Pretty pass there from Cohen. Oppenheim left it short. And it'll be Bates basketball.
And as we just said, here comes Luke Rogers right back into the game, trying to bring back that dynamic play we saw initially that allowed Tufts to build an early lead with their quick scoring.
Justin Kuyumjan in the game for the first time for Tufts. Here's Mortimer. Coyne now gets a screen, and he throws in the first row. Way too much on it for Mortimer to handle.
It's just all around solid defense. There wasn't any space, any lane to attack the basket. Forced some tough perimeter passes, and one of them just got away.
So after a pretty strong offensive start for both teams, things have kind of gotten a little sloppy, slowed down a bit.
Yeah, Tufts has been sitting at 13 points for about 2 or 3 minutes now, so hopefully we can get back on the scoreboard here. And already you see the difference that Luke Rogers is making, even on that possession. Already draws a foul just on the pass, trying to set him up.
Aruaje commits a foul and comes out of the game. Rogers just got swarmed by 3 Bobcats, and he's fouled. So fouls starting to pile up now for Bates. That's their 4th team foul. Coyne commits the personal. Kuyumjan finds Brady in the paint. His shot won't fall. And Sarr battling for the ball on the deck. Gonna have a jump ball. That's gonna be Bates' possession. Good physical play there from Omar Sarr. It looked like Rogers had that one in his hands, but he didn't give up on the play.
Absolutely. You saw that initial tip. He was able to tip it towards the direction of the rim, but it wasn't really controlled. It wasn't really a great shot. And then on the follow through, as you said, good job by Bates to swarm the ball, get the ball back.
Coyne with a screen from Sarr. Kicks it out. Bates working around the perimeter. Andrew Snoddy gets a touch, and he travels.
Once again, it's the second time this game already. You see Luke Rogers rotate down low to take away that drive, and the ball carrier is not expecting that, sees Luke Rogers there and really panics and ends up with a travel.
4th Bates turnover of the game. Aronson bringing it up. Here's Rogers working on Sarr. Goes up with the right, off the mark. Snoddy with the board, and he was pushed from behind.
Yeah, look at the foul on Thorner, I believe.
It's only the 2nd Tufts foul of this opening half. Coyne working on Kuyumjan, taking himself. That shot's not going to count. They're going to say it's on the floor. Kuyumjan with the bump.
That's a pretty good break for the Jumbos. It looked like that could have gone either way. It felt like whether they call that in continuation or not, but thankfully they'll keep that on the floor. It'll just be a side out.
Yeah, Tufts will certainly not complain with that result. Triggered into Sar. Here's Snotty. Coin working on Savage. Beautiful pass to Sar, and he's unable to finish. Gets his own rebound. He's stripped of it, though, and Savage comes away with it.
Yeah, again, Jumbos look like they might have gone away with a little foul on the second chance there, stripping the ball.
Savage will take. His three is off. Rogers with the offensive board. And they're going to get Sar for a reach-in foul.
It's the second or third time already they're going to get Sar for the foul. And what he's doing is his arms are just too close to Rogers. So when Rogers goes and drives, he's running into Sar's arms, and it's becoming a reach-in foul, even if he's not intending it to, because he's not establishing good position. And maybe for that, they are going to take Sar out.
Yeah, Aruuje comes back into the game. He's dealing with one foul himself. Aronson with the handoff from Rogers. Kiyumjin gets it back, working it around the perimeter is Tufts. Aronson with the fancy dribbles, a spin. His shot altered. Bates has it.
Real good defense. That was a lot of fancy dribble moves, and Bates wasn't.
Offensive foul on Aruuje. So Bates centers in a bit of foul trouble here early on. And as you mentioned, Scott, with all these fouls and turnovers, we are stuck at 13-12.
Yeah, I know. Tufts hasn't scored in about 4 or 5 minutes now. Bates probably approaching 3 or 4. It's been a little bit of a scoreless scene, and it's not. There have been turnovers, but there's just been good, solid defensive possessions both ways in the last few plays.
Absolutely. Bates playing small with both centers out. So Rogers attacks and scores.
And as you said, if they're going to play small, then you got to look to exploit the Luke Rogers matchup on whoever he's with, because he's such a dynamic player that if you don't have the height out there, then he's going to be able to get opportunities.
Yeah, here's Snotty with the jumper. He's going to shift to the 5 with this lineup, and as he demonstrates, he's got some range. So 2 quick baskets from both sides.
Oh, good read.
Bates comes with the steal. Here goes Gilpin. Oh, he's rejected by Savage. Great hustle play there by Eric Savage.
It was great defense to make that steal. What a play by Eric Savage to come up for his mistake.
Yeah, excellent defense on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely.
Rogers down low working on Snotty. He goes up with it off the mark, and Snotty knocked it out. Tufts basketball.
And that was it was a good move by Rogers. Want to see him finish there, and if you're Snotty, just grab that ball. I mean, Luke Rogers was attempting for the rebound. He wasn't actually contesting it that hard. That looked like a ball that Snotty could just grab, and Bates would have gone up the floor.
Aronson comes out of the game. Corner 3 here from McLaren is off. Rogers with another offensive board. Shot won't fall. Bates bench looking for a travel there. Coin into the lane, kicks out. Snotty from the same spot, not that time. Andrew Snotty averaging just under 5 points per game. Cohen gives up to Savage. In the paint, Savage's shot won't go. Gilpin with the board. That's a deep one from Coin. Way off. Up ahead quickly from Claren. He's stripped of the ball by Coin.
And on that last shot, Coin is a good but not great three-point shooter. You'd probably want to see him take a little step in. I don't know if they want to see it.
Yeah, that was
a
a deep one for sure. Gilpin, nice pass underneath Snotty, but he's rejected by Luke Rogers.
Second strong block by Tufts in the last few minutes. As we saw, both teams really stepping it up in the defensive end, and it's turned into a defensive slugfest.
Yeah, and I mean, that was good ball movement from Bates. Just a nice defensive presence in the paint from Rogers. He takes a seat, though, for Oppenheim, getting a breather. Greenhalgh back into the game for Bates, as is Baxter. Spellman, his jumper's off. Claren to the board. Just one Bates player with more than one bucket. That's Baxter. He's got 4 points. A couple guys have 2 as Savage is stripped on the baseline, staying here with the Jumbos.
Another good defensive play. Both ends you're seeing really clean, for the most part, defensive plays, and both teams really struggling to create anything, especially with Rogers coming out now. Tufts has got to find something, find a player they can play through.
And as demonstrated by the team fouls on both sides, neither team afraid to play physically. And there's another traveling violation.
Way too many steps there. It looked like he made an initial step and then took 2 more. It's almost like trying to combine 2 moves there. And that's just too many steps at that point.
5th Tufts turnover of the game. You know, one thing that really stands out so far, Scott, the offensive rebounding, 9-1 in favor of Tufts right now.
Absolutely, but they're not able to convert, it seems. And maybe it's because Rogers hasn't been able to convert that much, but Tufts is making a lot of good plays. They just aren't finishing right now.
Baxter kicks it out. Spellman's jumper, no good.
And it feels like for the last 5 or 6 minutes, Bates has always seemed to be 1 point down, and they just can't seem to get back in the lead.
Good defensive play by Coimba. He's unable to maintain possession. Aronson comes back for Tufts. Kuyumjan will take a seat. Yeah, neither team, I mean, as we've been saying a lot, not great shooting percentages. Tufts shooting just over 25% from the field. Bates only 37%, although Tufts having 9 more shot attempts. Carson Cohen can't hit.
Yeah, the recipe is there for Tufts to open up a lead if they could just convert. And you get concerned that they're getting all these rebounds and they're not further ahead.
Nice cut by Spellman, and that goes down.
What a shot. That was a real tough shot. He had to go right around Oppenheim to get that up, and he was able to do so. And all of a sudden, Bates is ahead.
16-15 here, still in the first half. Savage on the drive. Had it knocked away. Tufts will maintain possession. Cohen triggers in for Oppenheim. Being guarded by Snoddy. Oppenheim certainly with a bit of a height advantage over Snoddy. Beautiful take to the rim there by Carson Cohen. The lane just opened up. That was a bit of a defensive breakdown by Bates.
Absolutely. When you see such an open lane, obviously just go straight through it.
Baxter from the free throw line. He's got it.
Another tough shot, again with his height disadvantage, and he's able to convert. And he is really fast out there, and that allows him to get at least maybe an extra step of separation so that the taller players can't catch up to him.
Baxter now 3 of 4 on his shot attempts. Oppenheim underneath for 2.
That was a good move. Oppenheim is larger body out there, so if he can create that separation, he should be taking it to the rim.
Greenhalgh kicks it out to the corner. Baxter working baseline. Floater is off the mark. Follows up his own miss with a putback.
If you're Tufts, you can't allow, unfortunately, a player who's 5'10" to get a rebound that close to the rim. You want to see better box outs and better team rebounding there.
Absolutely. Brendan Morris still yet to score. That one goes through the hands of Oppenheim right to Aronson. And once again, we see a traveling violation against Tufts.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a broken play. They were looking for Oppenheim because you saw the double team come out on the ball handler. But it was a little bit of a late pass. Oppenheim maybe wasn't expecting it at that point. It ended up in the hands of Tyler Harrison, but a little over anxious, and he ends up traveling.
Only one 3-point field goal made so far this afternoon. That was from Tufts. Teams combined 1 of 8. And right on cue, there's Greenhalgh getting Bates' first 3-ball of the afternoon.
Yeah, Greenhalgh shoots in the mid-30s from 3. You don't want to leave him that wide open. He can make those.
Good hands there from Spellman. Here comes Bates, 2-on-1 developing. Spellman was fouled, and he will head to the line.
And all of a sudden, you see what happens. Luke Rogers back in the game, and unfortunately for Tufts, they can't seem to get in any sort of rhythm on offense, and then that's led to these breakaways that are creating opportunities for Bates, and they're up 4 with an opportunity to add to it.
Spellman shoots it at 71% from the line. Gets the roll on that one. And we have our first time out of the game. Bates will take a breather.
And you look up and down Bates' lineup as far as free throw shooting, and especially the top scorers, they're all in the 60s or 70s, so it's a pretty consistently good three-point shooting team. We got a replay for you here coming up. You're going to see Tyler Harrison back way early in the game. The great steal and then the great finish. And you actually can look at 15-30. Tufts at 13 points. So in 11 minutes, they've only been able to score 6 points. And that's definitely concerning if you're Tufts. Luke Rogers hasn't been in the entire time, but he's been in for parts of it, and they still haven't gone in any sort of offensive rhythm.
Well, with a game like this where points may be hard to come by and somewhat sloppy play, you know, if you can make a big play defensively, that could certainly be the difference in a game like this.
Absolutely. All of a sudden, you see Bates is going in a loose press, it looks like. Going to try to make it even harder for Tufts to get up the court and get something going.
Ever since Bates put Snoddy into the lineup there, both defense and offense has improved. Here he is matched up on Rogers. Rogers takes it all the way himself.
I mean, again, Luke Rogers, he's such a good offensive player. You just, at this point, down a couple points, you want to see him just take over.
He has 8 on the afternoon now. Greenhalgh taking it out. 14 to shoot. Working on Rogers. Left it for Snoddy. It deflects off his knee, and here comes Aronson. Had it knocked away by Greenhalgh. He's able to recover in the corner. Brennan Morris now puts it up. Off the mark. There's Baxter with another board. Nice outlet feed. And Mortimer just blew the layup. That's one that you gotta convert. And that's gonna be a backcourt violation against Tufts.
Yeah, 2 pretty not good plays there. First off, Mortimer, it's a great pass by Baxter, a great find, and I know it's a reverse layup, but at this level, you want to see that convert. He didn't even hit rim, and then for Tufts, just very sloppy, and you don't want backcourt violations are extremely rare, and when you get them, they do hurt.
Yeah, and backcourt violations pretty much always the cause of just hectic play in some senses, just not really knowing where your team is, assuming you'll be a little bit further up the court. Mortimer unable to hit that one either. And they're going to get him for a foul. Seemed like Rogers might have brought the arm down. That's what Mortimer is arguing.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the foul was there for. When I first called the foul, I thought they might get Rogers because he almost looked like he came close with me, swinging his elbow or shoulder into the head area, but they end up getting on Mortimer.
Yeah, and so with Bates in foul trouble now, this is going to be a one-on-one opportunity for Rogers. Didn't catch anything there.
And Rogers, great offensive player, but definitely the weakest part of her game is his free throw percentage. 53% on the year. And when you're getting the ball so often, so down low, I mean, you want to be a little higher so you can. So the foul is not always an advantageous opportunity for the opposing team.
3 ball from Mortimer's off. Yeah, Rogers averages about 6 free throw attempts per game, so you certainly expect him to at least come closer to the rim than that. Here he is down low, and he's not going to miss that one. Nice feed there from Aronson.
Yeah, it looks like Rogers got a little caught whether he wanted to slam it or not, and he ended up going for just the easy lay-in.
Rogers, first player in double figures for Tufts at 10 points. Baxter having a nice afternoon. He's now 5 of 7 from the field.
Baxter's just so shifty out there, and he has a quick release and quick feet, and so it's hard for Rogers, who's clearly taller, to get up and guard that.
Aronson rattles it home. Offense for both teams starting to wake up again. This is Gilpin, who's been in for a little bit now. Baxter with a deep one. He's heating up.
Yeah, Baxter really looking good out there. He's hitting his shots. He's making moves. He's creating separation. Tufts doesn't have an answer for him right now.
Bates back up by 4, matching their largest lead as Rogers is fouled. Bates doesn't agree with that one, and I'm not so sure that I do either.
I'm not so sure about that one either. Looks like he got all ball. I mean, maybe the ref saw something we didn't because he was in very good position to see that. But Rogers will send it back to the line, and you want to hope he can at least hit rim this time.
Well, and with a foul like that, of course, if you hit hand, that is still count as the ball. It's got to get wrist or below. Rogers just can't find a shot right now from the line. Very uncharacteristic. 2 straight air balls.
And he has, and he has 10 in the game so far. It's not like he's having a down offensive game. He's on pace to beat his average. But 2 air balls, even for a poor free throw shooter like himself, is definitely not characteristic.
He bangs that one off the glass, but it leads to an offensive rebound. Tufts having a few opportunities, and Savage comes away with it. And so, bad showing there by Rogers, but Savage, with the hustle, will get to the line himself.
Yeah, and Savage is 68% free throw shooter, so you need it. And if you're Tufts, I mean, you're down points here. You can't leave free throws on the table like that, especially if you're Rogers missing 3 in a row.
Yeah, and you can tell that it's definitely getting to him, missing 2 incredibly short, and then that third one there was way too long.
That third one, he absolutely overcompensated, and that hit a little bit of glass, which shows he's in not really any sort of shooting rhythm right now.
Savage leaving points on the table.
I mean, I'm missing the front end of a 1-and-1, so not only Savage and Rogers both did that, so they didn't even, there's 2 more attempts that they didn't even get to take because they can't hit their free throws.
See if Baxter finishes this half strong. The kick out to Gilpin. He's off the mark. Here comes Thorner. Thorner's 3 too strong. There's the offensive board again. Just working his way down low. Off the mark. Savage there to finish.
Good putback. It was a bit of a broken play, but Rogers, he's making things happen on the offensive end still, and even when he misses, he's creating opportunities for his teammates.
Baxter in the lane, kicking it out. Yeah, it's 2 more offensive boards for Tufts, who now lead that category 13-2. Baxter, nifty move. The floater is good.
Shot. Baxter is really impressing. The way he's able to get these shots up, even in the paint where he has such a height disadvantage, is very impressive.
Yeah, the first year from Worcester, really putting on a show here in Medford. Kuyumjan off on a 3 ball. Bates looking to extend this lead going into halftime, perhaps.
And that was only Kuyumjan's 15th attempt of the season. It was pretty well contested. I'm not sure you want to see that, especially when you're down 4 points. You need to be creating opportunities that have a high percentage of going in, and I'm not sure that's one of them.
It's Tufts' 5th foul of the half. Baxter to trigger in. Corner 3 there from Coyne is good. Bates with their largest lead of the afternoon at 7.
Yeah, it's really the movement that's killing Tufts right now. They're not able to stay with their men.
Savage, tough shot, is going to go down after bouncing a few times. But as you've been mentioning, it seems like Tufts a little bit, forcing some shots there, as you saw Savage. I mean, perhaps he's going 2 for 1 there, although we only have a 1-second shot clock to game clock difference. But
right, and that's a shot that you're happy it went in, but such high percentage that it's not going to go in because it's so well contested and you get the lucky bounce. I mean, that's not something down 7 points at the time that you probably want to be relying on. You want to, especially with a full shot clock. Bates
essentially holding for 1 here. There's a step back 3 that's just short. 4 seconds for Tufts. Savage looking to push. Got to get it up. That will count if it goes, and it's off the mark. So at the end of the first half, Bates with a nice way to finish off, 34-29. Player of the half, obviously, Stephon Baxter going crazy with 15 points. So we see a replay of his deep 3 there, capping off a great performance in the first half. 7 of 9 from the field for Baxter.
Yeah, it was really, towards the end, you saw really an onslaught. A couple threes. You see one right here in the corner.
That was Tom Coyne.
Yeah, and those really kill, because Tufts, even when they're creating scoring on the offensive end, they're not hitting threes, they're hitting 2s, they're hitting layups. And so to come back down and still be giving up points, that really hurts.
Bates came alive to end the first half. We will see you in just a few moments as we get ready for the second half play. And we're back, everybody. Welcome back to Cousins Gymnasium, where the Bates Bobcats lead the Jumbos 34-29 at the half. It was a pretty interesting first half, Scott. We saw a pretty quick offensive spurt from both teams, but then a pretty prolonged stretch of sloppy play, lots of turnovers, lots of fouls. Ultimately, Bates kind of started to pull away a bit with the play of freshman Stephon Baxter, who has 15 points at the half, 7 of 9 shooting. Scott, we were talking at the break. You've been really impressed with the way he's been navigating the lane specifically.
Yeah, I mean, he has an inherent disadvantage. He's 5'10" out there. He's the shortest player, especially when you get inside the paint and you're among people like Jake Rogers, Max Oppenheim, who have a sizable amount, 8-9 inches on him, even more. It's really hard. And what he's been able to do, which is he's been so shifty, so fast, creating so much space for his shot, and that he's able to finish. Often, because he's creating that space, he doesn't have his feet set, and he's still able to finish. That's really impressed me.
Tufts having a poor shooting half, only 33%, 14 of 42 from the field. I think one thing that really stood out to us is the lack of second chance points, despite the fact that Tufts is winning the offensive rebound battle 13-2. With those 13 offensive rebounds, Tufts has only had 6 second chance points, so that's certainly not a recipe for success.
No, it really isn't. If Tufts is going to, as we saw, Bates went small a lot. And what ended up happening is on the offensive end, that led to a lot of open opportunities for them towards the perimeter. And towards the end of the half, they were able to convert. If that's what Bates is going to do, Tufts has to take advantage down low, play through Luke Rogers, of course, which they were able to do to some extent. And then when he would miss, they would get the board, but they just weren't able to convert. And they need to continue to take advantage of that size difference, but they actually have to finish. Otherwise, it's going to be completely irrelevant.
Yeah, and one little thing that certainly might have an impact as this game comes to a close is the free throw shooting. Obviously, Tufts struggling in that first half, 0 of 4. Bates didn't really get to the line either. They only had 2 free throw attempts. But certainly free throws are very critical when it comes down to the wire.
Yeah, we saw towards the end of the half, Tufts missed 3 free throws. 2 of them were on the first end of a 1-and-1. That was 5 points they left on the table, and that's why they might be down by 5 points.
34-29 as the second half of play starts up. See the same starting 5 for the Jumbos out there as with Bates. Here's Rogers with a quick 2.
And that's exactly how they started the first half, which is a couple first 3 possessions, they always tried to find Luke Rogers. It worked to start the half, the first half. No reason to think it won't this time if they can continue to do it.
Baxter's shot is sent away by Aronson.
And Aronson's very fast, and he's, of all the players on the floor, I think he might be most equipped to stay with Baxter because he's able to close that space and rise up and contest the shot.
Here's Greenhalgh. Little floater is no good. Savage guides it to Aronson. Savage in the lane. He finishes in traffic and is fouled. He'll have a shot at a 3-point play to try and tie this one up at 34.
Bates foul charge number 21, Omar Sarr, his third, team first.
Omar Sarr picks up the foul, and Bates will call a quick 30-second timeout.
And we're going to get a quick replay of what we saw in the last possession. It's a great drive and then finishes. You had two defenders for Bates, both trying to close out there. And Savage was really strong and able to finish through contact. And all of a sudden, he'll go to the line with a chance to tie this game. And in the span of just about 45 seconds here, Tufts has looked really, really good on the offensive and defensive ends. And suddenly, I mean, I can't speak for you, Lucas, but I'm feeling a lot better about Tufts' chances.
Absolutely. I mean, it's certainly noticeable how Bates feels as they just call a timeout, as you mentioned, 46 seconds in the second half. Not something you see all the time, but I'm sure Bates' bench wants to try and stop this from snowballing a little bit too much for Tufts' favor. As we mentioned, Savage now at the line with a chance to tie the game.
And that would be Tufts' first free throw of the entire game. Comes at a great time, tying it up.
Savage is in double figures now. Greenhalgh with the triple to put Bates back in front by 3.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a little concerning for Tufts because it was pretty early in the shot clock. Only took a few passes, and Greenhalgh was wide open. And that's a shot he can definitely make.
Offensive foul going against Tufts.
Yeah, it looked like it was pretty close there. What they're going to call is Luke Rogers essentially leaned into him and stuck his shoulder out. You saw, and they're going to get him for that. He doesn't agree with the call, as you can see.
So 2 nice possessions there by Tufts, followed up by 2 good possessions for Bates, looking to tack on to their 3-point lead here. Spellman kicks it out, working around. Greenhalgh thought about it. Savage closed in quickly. Baxter, the hot hand in the first half, dishes it out to Sark, gets it back. Rogers with the block. So 2 possessions there blocked from Baxter. Savage unable to save it. Sloppy play there by the Jumbos.
Yeah, and Baxter, not an advisable shot with Rogers closing out with the height difference there.
Spellman, that's a difficult shot. It won't go. Rogers has it.
Yeah, last 2 possessions for Bates. Rogers really played a great defense there. Just really outstanding.
We're going to get a foul going against Bates for a hold. It's Greenhalgh's 3rd foul, so something to watch out for in the second half.
Yeah, and Saar, who is usually the primary defender on Rogers, also has 3. He has to be careful, and I think if you're Rogers, you got to look to exploit that, knowing that Saar is probably thinking to shy away from a lot of unnecessary contact.
Savage recovers, and they're going to get Bates for a push, forcing Savage out of bounds.
Yeah, it wasn't a severe amount of contact, but it was enough. And when you get that push in that vulnerable position, if you're any player, if you go down there, you're probably going to get the benefit of the call, and that's what we saw.
Yeah, and Scott, we're kind of seeing a recurrence of what happened in the first half, as Bates already has 3 quick fouls. That was something that happened in the first half, and they settled down, but ultimately we did see Tufts get into the bonus and shoot some free throws. So if that happens again in this half and Tufts is able to knock down some free throws, that could be something to exploit. Rogers going to work in the block, kicks it out. Aronson, as the shot clock expires, almost banked it in. Savage with an offensive rebound, and he scores.
Tough shot. You saw Savage. They were, I think with Saar closing out there, he had a high arc on that. It was a good shot to convert.
Saar's shot won't go. Looked like he was hit by Rogers, but no call.
I think Rogers maintained good position there. Saar initiated the contact. I like the no call.
Aronson is stripped, staying here.
And going back to what you were saying about how this half mirrors the first half, what we really saw in the first half was really a story of the first 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes, where Tufts started out great, middled, and then really struggled to end the first half.
There's a traveling violation against Luke Rogers. And what we saw in that last Tufts bucket was what we were just talking about in halftime. You know, not just getting the offensive rebound, but actually converting that second chance point opportunity. That's a key if Tufts wants to actually come away with a victory today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what we've seen so far from Luke Rogers on the defensive end has been really good. He's been closing out well. He blocked a shot, and there you go. You see Greenhalgh again beating Tufts with the 3.
Yeah, and Greenhalgh likes that spot, a step or 2 behind the arc. He's not afraid to shoot the deep threes. Through the hands of Savage. Sloppy Tufts play there.
Rogers looking for some contact. I believe he was motioning towards Baxter, saying Baxter hit him, but it wasn't the best pass, but you do want to see that pass received. It was right through the hands. So more sloppy play from Tufts. That cost them towards the end of the first half. Let's hope they can right the ship to start this one.
Owujui and Coyne come into the game for Bates, so Saar will head to the bench with foul trouble. That's a deep 3, and that one is good. Tom Coyne with a triple, and Bates back up by 7 points.
Coyne and Greenhalgh are really killing Tufts with the deep 3s right now. I think they each have 2 and that's really hurting.
And they're going to get Rogers for a travel.
Yeah, especially when he receives the ball, he stops, and then he initiates the move. It's not one fluid motion, and you didn't see him take a dribble at all, and he moved both feet. That's pretty clean-cut travel, and another turnover for Tufts. And you see Rogers is going to come out. This is a really trying time. It's going to be a real trying few minutes for Tufts here.
Here's Baxter. The drive leading for Owujui, and he's fouled.
I'm not sure about that. That looks like a pretty clean strip there by Aronson. But with that said, Tufts they're in a not playing great defense, and you're putting Aronson in a tough position where he has to reach around and hope he gets ball. And even though he did that time, I can see why the referee thought it was worthy of a foul.
Here's Coyne matched up on Brennan Morris. Brennan Morris has had a very quiet afternoon, still not on the scoreboard yet. That's a 3 from Baxter, and he just cannot miss today.
Baxter's almost doubled up his game averages already, and we're barely into the half. And Tufts is going to call a necessary timeout.
And the contingency of Bates fans really making some noise here in Cousins Gymnasium.
Well, this is a quick 9-0 run from Bates in the span of a minute and a half. They just hit 3 threes, and that's a real tough shot from Baxter, as we keep mentioning. His height difference makes it really hard for him to get a clean look, and he's able to hit. And we're going to see a replay here of one of the threes. That's Baxter again. You see that hand in his face. I mean, there is a step there, and I think you do want to see, knowing that Baxter is shooting the ball really well, I would want to see Cohen a step closer, make an easier closeout, but that's still a tough shot.
Absolutely.
And Baxter's just on fire right now. Tufts really need to right the ship, especially on defense. It's not, even with Luke Rogers out, it's not the paint that's killing them, it's the perimeter shooting. And unfortunately, Luke Rogers, in or out, he's such a dynamic player, but he doesn't handle the perimeter that much. So Tufts really needs to find a way overall to fix that.
Savage, Rogers, and Aronson combining for 32 points. The rest of the Tufts team with only 4. Kind of a bump down low. Going against Bates. They're going to get
looks like they're going to
Aruajoy for the foul, I believe. That's his third. So once again, with Sarr on the bench and Aruajoy with 3 fouls, that's something to watch out for. Another offensive rebound for Tufts. Brennan Morris with that one.
Looked like Morris might have gone away with an over the back.
Well, they get him there with a bump. Another turnover by Tufts.
Yeah, they said Morris used the arm to create separation. And when you do that, if it's too blatant, they're going to call you.
13 Tufts turnovers to 5 Bates turnovers. Coyne is fouled. He's going to go to the line for 2. Bates looking to extend their double-digit lead here.
And if you're Tufts, we talked about this right in the open here, that this is a trap. This is basically a trap game. That this is a good Bates team who's right behind them in the NESCAC, and they're playing like they deserve to be top 3 in the NESCAC right now.
Brady and Kuyumjan come into the game, replacing Morris and Aronson for Tufts.
Checking in for Bates, number 33, Andrew Snoddy.
Coach Bob Sheldon just looking for any lineup that's going to produce any kind of offense right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is another long stretch like we saw in the first half where Tufts can't score. The difference is Bates is continuing to score to open up the lead, and that's really disappointing.
Savage working on Greenhalgh.
Great defense.
Kuyumjan recovers the possession. Savage will try the 3. Too strong. Cohen with the board. Brady will try the 3 and hit.
That's a huge 3. That's a huge 3. Third try opportunity for Tufts, but really good defense in the first 2 by Bates.
Andrew Snoddy's in the game for Bates. He had a nice first half. Coyne drives.
Yeah, that was good defense. I think Coyne might be looking for a block on Oppenheim, but it looks like to me that Oppenheim really just stood there and Coyne just really bounced off him without dribbling, so they'll call that a travel every time.
(48-39) in favor of Bates. Approaching 14 minutes left to play in the second half. Brady will try again. Way off that time. Baxter with the rebound.
We got to stop forcing the 3s.
Baxter's pass. Just a little too much on it for Coyne, but a good idea.
And it feels like Tufts they're trying to get it all back in once, where they're really forcing the 3s, hoping to make a big shot to cut the lead. But that's not what we need right now. When you're down 9, I mean, you can't. And Bates is scoring at such a prolific pace. A missed 3 leads to transition. That can be more of a harm than even the potential that it goes in.
Savage drives. He had it stripped away. Snoddy comes away with the ball, and he'll slow it down, get into the hands of Baxter. Mortimer over to Gilpin. Coyne on the drive. No look pass there. And
What a
Mortimer
great-
finishes down low.
Really, what a great pass. As I said, no look and just unbelievable pass to find a window there.
Cohen spinning, shot won't fall, but he's going to go to the line.
And that honestly, that good for him to draw a foul, but that seems like more of a makeup call almost, because that really didn't seem like a lot of contact there, and it was really out of control. And I don't like the chance of that going in with or without contact there.
Cohen rattles in the first. He shoots at 55% from the line.
And welcome back, Luke Rogers, among others. Tufts really needs an offensive spurt here. And, of course, playing through Luke Rogers can create that. So let's hope Tufts is able to get back into this starting now.
Yeah, especially with Baxter coming out. This might be their opportunity to do so.
Yeah, you get Rogers back in along with Aronson. Two very dynamic offensive players that play well with each other. So look for Tufts to start hopefully creating some more space and some more open opportunities.
Kuyumjan slips a little bit. Coin kicks it out. Mortimer takes it hard to the rack, won't go. Rogers the board.
Really, really good restraint by Rogers, not to come down on him, not to create a contact and the foul.
Aronson, the free throw line jumper is good.
Arison's fired up after that. He just got back in the game, hits a big shot there, and hopefully that'll lead some more momentum going Tufts' way.
Base lead down to 5. Spellman getting ready to check in. And they're going to get Snotty for a push-off. Kuyumjan fired up as well.
Just a real good job by Kuyumjan. I think he sold that a little. There was definitely contact, but he felt that contact and went down, but he made it look natural off. That the ref's going to say, hey, that looks natural. It looks like a good defensive play. They're going to get the offensive foul.
Yeah, and anytime you extend your arm, you risk the ref calling something like that.
Right.
Rogers spins and scores down low.
Oh, yeah. When he goes to the left hand and the left side, it's hard to stop if you're a defender. And Aronson and Rogers, Tufts' top 2 offensive players, really making it look like that.
Mortimer will back it out. 13 to shoot. Spellman. And they're going to call a foul against Thorner. He's got a hand in there.
Yeah. A little bit of a ticky-tack call, in my opinion. I mean, there was definitely contact, but felt like that was more of a run-of-the-mill type stuff. No, nothing egregious enough for a foul, but called it anyways.
Bates sends Sar back into the game, try and defend Rogers. Difficult pass. Good job by Spellman to keep possession with 8 to shoot. He drives to the hoop.
Oh, that's
won't go, but a foul is called.
That's a bailout. I assume they're going to get it on Aronson and not Rogers. Yeah, I thought Rogers had good defensive position there. If you're Tyler Aronson, you don't want to go down and play that aggressively because it's so hard to score over Rogers there. But Aronson came down really hard from behind, and it looks like he got a piece of the arm.
Just the second Bates missed free throw of the afternoon. So a 6-point lead. Aronson receives a screen. He'll try a 3. It's too strong, and Sar with the uncontested rebound. Three would have cut it to a 3-point game. Instead, here's Spellman with the 6-point swing.
Two very similar possessions right there. Aronson steps behind the screen, takes a contested 3. He can't hit. Spellman does, and that's a 6-point swing. That's absolutely massive for Bates.
Big time shift there. Rogers. He's trying to get it to Kuyumjan. Instead, they get to Brady. Try to squeeze it to Rogers, but it's intercepted by Sar. Might have taken a deflection off a shin.
There you get an offensive foul, it looks like. I believe that's going to go on Sar, and that's his 4th. That's pretty big. You see most of Bates' bigs are in some sort of foul trouble.
And right on cue, here comes Aruajoy.
Yeah, and you can see Bates' coaching staff, John Furbush, is pretty fired up. He did not like that call. He felt like it was sold a bit. But nevertheless, it's a foul, and Sar's going to go to the bench with 4.
Tufts is going to need to make another run if they want to try and get back into this game. Been feeding Rogers for much of the second half. He drives and is denied by the rim. He had the step, but just couldn't finish.
You got to finish that if you're Luke Rogers. A lot of space, pretty open look. Disappointing to see he can't finish that one.
Spellman on the drive. Attacking Rogers won't go. Thorner comes away with the basketball.
That looks like a foul. Tufts got away with one.
Kuyumjin will try the 3, and he knocks it down.
That's a huge swing. I think that was a foul. Similar play that we saw before where Rogers was playing solid defense down low, but then someone rotated and hit the arm. But they didn't call it, and Tufts gets a 3 in transition off of it.
Tufts, as we mentioned, only shooting 20% from deep this game. Spellman with the 2.
Great job by Spellman. He rose up really quickly. There's a lot of separation that he created himself, and a great shot.
Bates finding offense with Baxter on the bench. Kuyumjin, same spot, same result.
Real good shot and move by Kuyumjin. Great up fake, and then created space. Huge swing.
6 quick points there from Kuyumjin, and he almost came away with the turnover.
Yeah, good play by Kuyumjin.
Bates will counter with Greenhalgh coming back in.
And if you're Bates, that's an unnecessarily risky pass to make up 5. Throwing it pretty much cross court, towards the sideline. Very risky. Lucky they got the ball back.
Baxter at the scorer's table getting ready to come back into the game. Spellman receives a screen. Matchup on Brady in the corner. Gilpin to Ruajoy. He doesn't get the bounce, touched just about every part of the rim and rolled out. Tufts looking to cut in this 5-point deficit. Kuyumjin's been the hot hand. Here's Rogers. Brady with a bomb. He knocks it down.
Huge shot. What a huge shot. Wow, he was a few feet behind. The defender was in the area, and he just knocked it in his face. What a shot.
Tufts coming alive.
Oh.
Kuyumjin with the steal. He ties it up. No! Kuyumjin missed the gimme.
Oh, no, I think he got in his head.
And there's an air ball from Greenhalgh. Kuyumjin riding the hot hand, had a gimme and just blew the layup. Savage gets the roll that time. He's going to have an opportunity to take the lead at the line.
And no one's more happy right now than Kuyumjin because that was a huge...
That's a sense of relief. You can still see it in his face.
I mean, literally no one maybe inside the three-point line there. Kuyumjin bricks the layup, but then what a play. Tufts doesn't get phased by it, and here comes Eric Savage. Tufts ties the game with an opportunity to go ahead. I'm going to say, and we are going to see a replay here. A huge 3 from Kuyumjin earlier. At that point, it was a 7-point game. And once again, Kuyumjin, watch this up fake. What a move. And a huge 3. And even though he missed that layup, he's been playing outstanding. And one more time.
See how deep Brady was on this one.
Really far behind the line. Defender in his face. That's a huge 3 to put Tufts right back in the game.
A completely different 3-point shooting team this second half all of a sudden as Tufts has just knocked down 3 deep balls in a row to really propel themselves back into this game.
Absolutely. I mean, I believe it was 54-45. 9-point game. You're Tufts, you're thinking, how do we stop them? How do we score? And all of a sudden, look up at the scoreboard a few minutes later, we are tied at 56. What an incredible momentum shift in Tufts' favor. And we'll see Savage at the line to put Tufts ahead.
And you'd imagine Bates is going to counter by putting Baxter back into the game, and they do. So yeah. Greenhalgh and Baxter back into the game for Bates.
Yeah, Bates a little slow on the offensive end the last few minutes. Baxter really has the opportunity and the skill set to change that.
Again, Baxter has 18 points on the afternoon.
And that's a huge point, and all of a sudden Tufts is back ahead. What a huge, huge swing.
57 to 56, Tufts in front for the first time in a long time. Bates has been able to respond to the Tufts run so far. Gonna get coined for steps there.
Looked like he took a step and then tried to take a step back move without a shot, without a quick pass, and they're gonna call that every time.
So Tufts with a chance to add to their lead now. Cohen lobs up for Rogers. A little too much on it. Brady comes away with the ball. Savage now in the paint. Cohen underneath had it knocked away.
That's going to go off Cohen, and Bates is going to get the ball back. If they converted that slam, that really would have ignited this place.
Baxter receives a screen. And he throws it to no one. Cohen comes away with it. Savage back to Cohen. Unable to finish. Savage underneath goes back up. Not that time either. Scrum for the ball. We're going to see what the refs decide to call here. It looks like Savage might be a bit shaken up. And it looks like Tufts is going to take a timeout. We'll see what the refs call here as bodies were flying and hitting the deck quickly. If it is a jump ball, possession arrow favors Bates. And I'd imagine that's probably going to be the call.
Yeah, not really a clear motion here by the ref. Although it does look like the ball remains on the Tufts side. Of course, if Bates had the ball, they would end up inbounding there.
Just looking ahead after this one, Tufts plays on Tuesday the 28th at New England College at 7 p.m. Bates, on the other hand, Tuesday the 28th, they're going to be home for a matchup against Maine Maritime, 7:30 p.m.
It looks like I think they granted Tufts the time out there, so they retain possession is my best guess.
Rogers' step-back jumper is good.
Oh,
Gets the bounce.
Roll. And of course, Luke Rogers is such a great paint player, but when he is able to expand his range to the mid-range, it's a dynamic addition to his skill set.
3-point Tufts lead. Greenhalgh drives, kicks it out, working around. Baxter drives off the line. Floater is short.
It's one of the most open shots Baxter's had all game, and it's one of the first he's missed.
Savage working baseline. Rogers right there for the easy layup, but he missed it again. Tufts really leaving a lot of those gimmies.
And it looked like there was a lot of contact going up. It looked like he got slapped on the arm, but no call. Tufts bench a little irate over that.
Difficult shot from
that's
Spellman.
off Rogers.
Unfortunate there, as that was a really contested shot.
Yeah, Spellman hit it, and it hit the rim so fast, and Rogers had just come down from contesting it. He wasn't exactly ready. It rolled right off his fingers. And it looks like they'll give Rogers a quick breather. He'll probably come in with a few minutes left in the game and finish it out.
Rogers 16 and 16. 16 points, 16 boards in the afternoon. Baxter all the way.
What an initial step by Baxter. Got right by his defender. And he's so fast that Oppenheim and anyone else down low is not fast enough to be able to rotate over and contest the shot. Just what an outstanding move.
Brady with a bad pass. Good save there from Spellman to win possession for his team.
He really forced that pass Brady did. Completely unnecessary that early in the shot clock.
Coin in the paint, and they're going to get
that's a bailout.
That's a foul on Dylan Thorner.
I think it probably looked like a foul. You didn't see too much disagreement from the Tufts players besides the
Seemed like he got him on the wrist, yeah.
Yeah.
Trio of subs getting ready to check in, including Rogers, so that was just a quick talking to.
Yeah, I believe he was out for 20, 30 seconds max.
Be interesting to see if Brennan Morris gets involved, as we've been mentioning throughout the broadcast. He's 0 of 3 from the field, just 2 boards, no points.
Yeah, averaging, of course, 12 points a game. And And when you look at the scoreboard and you wonder where Tufts points are, they're on pace for it to be well below their season average. That's one area where you're getting less points than they would expect. And suddenly Bates back in the lead, quick 4-0 run.
Yeah, Tom Coyne puts his team up by 1. Rogers working on Sarr, who's back into the game. Rogers, the flip shot denied by Sarr. Rogers able to recover, though, in the corner. Here's Cohen.
Poor Sarr has 4 fouls.
Sarr once again with the denial. 5 seconds to shoot for Tufts. Another offensive rebound. Here's Morris for 3. Off the mark. Another rebound by Thorner. Tufts dominating the offensive board. Rogers won't be denied that time.
3rd time's the charm.
Bates must be irate at their lack of defensive rebounding.
Well, you got to give Sarr credit. He has 4 fouls, and he was able to make that great block. And as you'll see here, Sarr with 4 fouls. And he still goes up real strong, meets him at the point of release.
And that's just smart play. You see, once again here, just going straight up, knowing that the ref can't call him for anything
right,
there.
And it looks like Rogers even had a step on him, and Sarr came back with a really dynamic jump and was able to meet Rogers again at the point of release. And eventually Rogers was able to convert, but not for lack of effort on Sarr's part. Really impressive. He doesn't have any points today. He has 4 fouls. It hasn't been his best game, but he's able to really generate momentum for Bates with his great defensive effort.
Tufts almost has as many offensive rebounds as Bates has defensive rebounds. 21 Tufts offensive rebounds and 23 Bates defensive rebounds.
And we do apologize right now. It looks like we're having some issues with the score, but we'll try to keep you updated with the score and the time until we get it back up and running.
61-60, Tufts in front with 5 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. And looks like we're back in business. Scott, who do you expect Bates to go to down the stretch here to try and find some offense?
Well, I mean, it's been Baxter's game. He has 18 points, or 20 points, my apologies. He's going to bring up the ball. You'd expect to play through him. But his height, the differential between him and whoever's guarding him, does pose problems in that he has to be given a lot of space to get a shot up. So that could pose a potential problem if Bates wanted to play through him.
Coyne, 3 ball. Off the mark. No, he gets the bounce.
What a friendly roll. Coyne with a really low release there. Was able to get it off, and tough bounce if you're a Tufts fan.
Some interesting bounces on both sides of the court today.
Yeah.
That puts Bates back in front, 63-61. Approaching 5 minutes to play. Oppenheim kicks it out. Thorner on the drive and finish.
That's a good move. The way he presented his momentum really fooled Sarr there, and Sarr wasn't able to get a contest up.
Thorner's first points of the afternoon.
Sarr has a mismatch down low.
Yeah, Baxter's got to get
Baxter. What a move. That's a charge. Oh, I'm not sure about that.
We call a blocking foul.
Unless his feet were in the paint, in the restricted area. It looks like to me he had pretty good position there. But Bates will come away with it, and Baxter will be at the line.
78% free throw shooter at the line now. Looking to add to his point total.
Tough substitution, number 32, Luke Rogers, and number 33, Eric Savage. Checking in for Bates.
Savage and Rogers both come back in.
Yeah, and you'd expect Tufts to ride them out for the rest of the game.
I would expect so.
One-point Bates lead. Savage matched up on Baxter, driving the paint. Going to call a foul. That's going to send Rogers to the line with Bates over limit.
And that's a good idea by Savage. Of course, Baxter, he's very quick, but he's not going to be able to contest as effectively as a taller player would. So Bates, knowing that's going to send help, and that can create opportunities, as we saw for Rogers, who got hacked down low, and he's going to go to the line.
Yeah, here's a one-on-one. We saw him airball a couple free throws earlier. Too strong on that one. Yeah. Bates comes with the rebound.
Yeah, and Rogers had a great game, but the points he's leaving at the line are really killing Tufts today.
Baxter driving the paint, puts it up, and gets the friendly roll.
Another friendly roll for Baxter, and he's up to 23 today.
Yeah, impressive showing by the freshman. Getting a hand on it there, almost ripped it away from Morris. Savage receives a screen from Rogers, kicks out in the corner. Cohen thought about the three inside, drives, leaves for Rogers, nice pass, and Rogers is able to finish.
Good finish. That was a real good pass, as you said. Good ball movement, good drive, and Rogers with a strong finish. It's back to a 1-point game.
Get Greenhalgh involved here. Baxter slips, and he's going to be called for a travel.
Yeah, Baxter's almost too fast for himself there. I mean, really making dynamic moves. Don't forget, of course, Tyler Arrington is also very fast, and he did a great job there of just really keeping up with Baxter. And then maybe it might have been caused by a little wet spot, but nevertheless, Baxter was able to, unfortunately, just wasn't able to maintain his pivot foot, slipped, and they're going to call that
Yeah, and that's what the Bates coaches are arguing. They're saying there was something on the floor which caused his slip. Nonetheless, that is a travel. Just an unfortunate outcome for Bates.
Right. We got under 3.5 minutes to go. It's a 1-point game.
Rogers working on Sarr. His shot is short. Bates has the rebound.
Sarr continues to play good defense, especially given that he's one foul away from being out of this game.
Baxter, no, but he's going to go to the line. You've been seeing Bates down the stretch playing much better on the defensive rebounding side. These were a lot of those misses that Tufts will be getting second chances on. Bates really hunkering down on the defensive effort.
Absolutely. It's leading to a transition like that, and you got to admire the resolve on Baxter going against Tufts' best defensive player, Luke Rogers. No fear, and he draws the contact.
Baxter leaving some points at the line, though. Bates clings to this 1-point lead.
Yeah, and just for the record, Luke Rogers is 10 inches taller than Baxter, and Baxter still decided to take it to the line and was able to get a shot off with contact. See if Tufts can take advantage. Baxter's only 2 of 4 from the line the last couple times he's been there. Those are 2 big points he's left on the table.
Savage gives to Cohen. 3 minutes left in regulation. Savage drives past Greenhalgh, puts it up and in.
That's a good finish by Savage. And again, you probably saw with the 4 fouls there, he didn't come down on the ball. He didn't maintain great position, maybe a little afraid of picking up the 5th foul. Savage took advantage.
Baxter in the paint, and he's going to be called for a travel.
Yeah, Baxter, it was a good closeout there on Baxter. He saw that. He tried to get away with it because he needs to take another step to create any separation. The refs caught him. That's a definite travel. So we approach now 2.5 minutes to go in the game, and it's tied. What a great game we have here.
Cohen turns the corner and scores.
What a dynamic first move. What a real dynamic first move there by Cohen. He created 2 steps or so, and then no one down low was able to close out. And you'll see right here the good fake at the top of the 3-point line. Got his defender 2 steps behind, and no one closed out, and it's a great bucket to put Tufts ahead.
Somewhat surprised he didn't get Greenhalgh for a foul. Looked like he had a hand in his back.
Yeah, absolutely. And there have been a few plays towards the end of the half, in the last few minutes, that have left you wondering whether there was a foul or whether it shouldn't have been a foul. But overall, I think it's been a pretty good game for the refs so far. There's been no one call that you can point to and say that was clearly wrong, or no one call that was questionable. They're saying, well, that's going to change the game. Of course, there is still time left and a lot of basketball yet to be played.
Both teams are in the bonus at 9 fouls each, so any foul will result in free throws. Something to keep mind of. And as we mentioned earlier, impressive recent play by Sarr, who has been in foul trouble for much of the second half, but he has not been afraid to hold his ground in the post.
And you got to respect Bates. You got to respect Coach Furbush, keeping him in there with the 4 fouls for an extended period of time. Not only is he keeping in there, even though he may be tired, he may be worn out, with the 4 fouls, he's trusting him, and that trust has paid off so far on the defensive end.
Gilpin drives. His shot's blocked by Rogers.
Great job by Rogers, not doing anything to cause a foul and just getting the ball.
Savage tried to force it to Rogers. It's knocked out of bounds. It's staying with Tufts. Tufts has really been running their offense through Luke Rogers.
Absolutely. Well, when other things aren't working, you always want to go to your best player.
Tufts forced to call a timeout with the threat of a 5-second violation looming.
And that's problematic if you're Tufts. It looks like, if I'm reading the scoreboard correctly, that might be their last. They only have one timeout left after this. 2 minutes, 5 seconds to go, and such a close game. I'm just not sure if that was advisable. I mean, maybe it was advisable, but it's definitely not ideal if you're Tufts. I absolutely don't want to give the ball away in a 5-second violation. But with that said, 2 minutes is a lot of game time. A lot of things happen, a lot of possessions you want to talk about, especially with a potent Bates offense.
Well, and you certainly have to inbound the ball here. As you mentioned, just one timeout left. But what this does do is at least give Coach Bob Sheldon the chance to run a play that he draws up out of this timeout here.
Of course, and of course it also gives Luke Rogers and the other Tufts players a bit of a breather to get the win back and hopefully play some dynamic offense.
Leading scorers on this one, Luke Rogers has 20 points. As we mentioned, Stefan Baxter with 24. Worth noting, we mentioned it earlier, Luke Rogers with a tremendous double-double of 20 points, 17 boards. What does kind of glare out to you on the scorecard, however, is, as we've been mentioning, the 0 of 4 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not just been him. Savage left a point on the board as well at the line. So free throws certainly do really matter, especially when you get down to these close finishes as we're in right now.
Yeah, with both teams about to enter the double bonus, free throws really become important.
Tufts able to get it in that time. Savage, 2 minutes left. Cohen with the fake, kicks it out. Baxter with the steal. Here comes Bates. Baxter, the Euro step and the finish.
Move.
What a beautiful move by the freshman.
Incredible move by Baxter. I mean, he went 1-on-2. Two players significantly taller than them and absolutely faked both of them. And we have a great game in store.
26 now for the first-year Baxter. Savage drives.
That's a foul. That's going to be it for
Yeah, Sarr is done.
I think that was absolutely a foul. Sarr really tried to get out of the way, but I think it looked like he was not in great blocking position, initiated some contact, and Sarr is going to be done. You got to hand it to him. Unfortunately, 0 points for him, but a real imposing presence on the defensive end, especially in the last 6 or 7 minutes with the 4 fouls. And Bates will call a full timeout here with 1.5 minutes, of course. You do want to talk about this with Tufts now in the double bonus. 2 free throws incoming. Hopefully Tufts will be able to take the lead. And then Bates would like to have a good out-of-bounds play here.
Yeah, and it looks like Bates is going to counter the fouling out of Sarr by inserting Andrew Snoddy back under the line.
Yeah, and we saw that Snoddy was able to make a difference in the first half. Bates really seemed to find their offensive rhythm when he was in there, and that is the difference, of course. Sarr, a good defensive player, but 0 points. He's not exactly a dynamic offensive player that Snoddy can provide.
69-69 with 1:32 left in regulation. Tufts with a chance to take the lead at the line here. Cohen, Kuyunjin, Aronson, Savage, and Rogers, the 5 for Tufts. Greenhalgh, Snoddy, Baxter, Coyne, and Spellman for Bates. Looks like Bates wants to get Nick Gilpin in. Savage unable to hit.
That's really it. You really don't want to see that. Savage is a 68% free throw shooter, and he hasn't been able to hit free throws at a consistent pace today.
Bates playing offense, defense, putting Gilpin in just in case there was a miss. Coyne, however, does check back into the game. So Tufts lead 70-69 after Eric Savage splits a pair. Savage now with 20 points. Here's Snoddy handing it off to Spellman. Spellman dribbled away from himself, able to regain possession. Snoddy with 10 to shoot. Get it out to Baxter. Baxter on the drive. His floater is good.
What a shot by Baxter. He froze Luke Rogers. Luke Rogers hoping that he would go up for the layup, but the short floater, Rogers wasn't able to convert. Baxter has been unbelievable today.
Can Tufts respond? Aronson. Baxter all over him.
Look at Luke.
Savage
yeah, absolutely.
trying to feed it to Rogers. He's got a height advantage on Snoddy.
It was a good try, but I think you want to see less of a little loopy pass there. More, you want to get into Rogers there. And we're going to see just a little bit, real quick, Baxter.
Here's Savage in the corner. Savage is fouled. They're saying it's on the floor.
I don't believe it will matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
They'll get 2 free throws regardless. Savage has left 2 points on the table already at the free throw line.
These are clutch free throws. Down by 1. Too strong on the first.
You can't have that. You can't have that at this point. And Bates will take a timeout, but you can't have that at this point in the game. These need to be free throws that are going in. Especially, it's a 1-point game. The difference between 1 made free throw, 2 made free throws, 0 made free throws is the difference between a tie, a lead, and losing. It'll be interesting to see what Bates tries to do. We saw they let it go pretty deep into the shot clock last time. I'd wonder if they'd try to go for a quick 2-for-1 if they could get numbers, but it wouldn't surprise me if they try to set an offensive play. A bit of a gray area here with 43 seconds to go. And if you're Tufts, and this is a huge free throw, really, because if you don't make it, then all of a sudden Bates has the ball up 1, and if they can wind out the shot clock, Tufts will have very little time to be able to set up an offense.
Now, if you're Bates, theoretically, you could push the ball quickly and try and go for a 2-for-1. However, you might be forcing a shot. It'll be interesting to see what they call out of this timeout.
I think if Tufts makes the free throw, I think there's a decent chance they would. If they miss the free throw, I would be highly surprised if they did. I think if with a lead, Bates would be content to let the clock run and then look for something in the last 10 seconds.
To remind you, both teams now with 1 timeout remaining if they need it. Eric Savage has 1 more shot at the line here to try and tie the game at 71. It's been a fantastic game. Seemed like Bates might be pulling away to start the second half, but Tufts really fought back, and it's been very back and forth ever since.
Really did. It's been a really high-scoring offense. Second half, both teams have found their offensive rhythm. Tufts is now, I believe, at 51 points for the half, which vastly outpaces their normal pace around 40. So.
Savage gets the friendly roll.
Huge roll. That's a huge roll. And all of a sudden, it's a tie game with 40 seconds to go.
Looks like Bates will slow it down and just look for a good shot.
Absolutely.
Crunch time here. Snoddy gets it out. Greenhalgh's driving on Savage. Finds Snoddy underneath. His shot, no, but they're going to get Rogers for a foul.
Yeah, Rogers hit the arm, not the ball. It's a good call. It's a good foul by Rogers. It's a good call. And with on the shot, doesn't even matter the team limit. It'll be 2 free throws, 2 huge free throws.
Snoddy is not who you want at the line statistically for Bates, shooting only 39.4% from the line on the season. These are humongous free throws. Short on the first. Gilpin back in for offense, defense, you'd assume.
And and I think no matter what happens here, it wouldn't surprise me if Tufts takes their final timeout, drop on offense.
Big free throw by Snoddy to put his team up by 1.
Tufts is not going to take the timeout. Maybe they will at the. No, I don't think they will. They're going to let it go.
Here's Savage driving baseline, up and under, kicks out Aronson, open 3. It's good!
What a shot. What a shot.
10 seconds left. Bates not calling timeout. Here goes Baxter working on Rogers, ripped away by Cohen. Bates fouls.
What a big play. And interestingly enough, I think right at the beginning of that, Coach Sheldon wanted to take a timeout right after the bucket, but ref didn't give it to him. But Bates really tried to push it with Baxter, but it was good defense. You're going to see a replay of this huge 3 by Aronson. What a pass. And what a huge shot.
Bates has just used their final timeout. 74-72. Now, these are still big free throws with 5.1 seconds left. Obviously, it's not easy to go the length of the court if you're Bates, but still, that is enough time to get the ball into the front court and put up a shot if there is a missed free throw here.
Honestly, it really surprises me that Bates is going to take their timeout now, given that Tufts has had free throw troubles this entire game. I mean, if you get one or even two misses here, all of a sudden you're giving Bates 5 seconds, and they're not going to talk about it. They're just going to have to go the length of the court and score. I'm not sure I would have used the timeout here.
Nonetheless, what a humongous three-pointer by Aronson. And so, clutch free throws here. 2 free throws would effectively end the game.
Absolutely.
This lineup that Coach Sheldon has used down the stretch really has been working for Tufts. Aronson now in double figures with 11 points. That's his first 3 of the afternoon. So now these are huge free throws for the sophomore Carson Cohen.
He's only a 55% free throw shooter from the line.
Cohen connects on the first.
Huge shot. Huge shot.
Gilpin back into the game for Bates. Tufts not putting anyone in the area to rebound. Now Brady's going to check in for Rogers.
Substitution number 23, Will Brady.
Makes sense, knowing that they need a 3. Put in perimeter D.
And Cohen with 2 clutch free throws. Puts the Jumbos up by 4. Baxter too strong. And that is how this one ends. What a win by the Tufts Jumbos, winning it 76-72. Aronson with the clutch 3 down the stretch to put his team up by 2. Scott, what did you make of the interesting call there by Bates? Out of that three-pointer, they had a timeout to use but decided not to use it. Instead, just send Baxter up quick.
Yeah, I wasn't so sure about that. I mean, Baxter's played outstanding. He really has. But if I'm Baxter, too, I'm not sure why I'm driving at Luke Rogers and then not pulling up. I'm just going straight at him. It doesn't make sense to me. Why? Because that's not going to create enough separation to get the shot over someone with a 10-inch height advantage over you. And then also, to not call the timeout, or to call a timeout before those free throws, maybe trying to ice the shooter a bit, but still, I don't think it was strategic. Didn't end up mattering. But I look a couple questionable decisions in my mind for Bates at the end of this half.
Stephon Baxter with 28 points lead the way for Bates. Tufts, Eric Savage had 21. Luke Rogers, 20 and 17. Excellent game here from Cousins Gymnasium. Once again, Tufts comes away victorious in this NESCAC matchup. For Lucas Johnson and Scott Blatt and the rest of this JumboCast crew, we thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your afternoon and evening.